Hey everybody, it's Josh. Walking around the dog park, let my boys run around. 2 old men, 3 old men if you count me. Wanted to talk today about some more of the, quote, foolishness of the cross. Now, the Apostle Paul wrote that the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. To those who are being saved, it is the power of God. It was like that even when Christ was walking the earth. There's a story about how when the Pharisees were with Christ and he was explaining to them that he is the manna from the heavens. He is the bread of God. Now, the manna of the heavens, if you don't know, it was bread that fell from heaven, food that fell from heaven, sent by God for the Israelites when they were stuck in the desert for 40 years. They had just escaped persecution as slaves, and many of them wanted to go back to that. They were saying, well, at least there we got fed, we got clothed, we got housed. Out here we got nothing. We got nothing. We're in the scorching hot desert trying to do anything to survive. And there, yes, we were sometimes beaten, had to work long hours, grueling work. But, you don't know what you got until it's gone, right? And when you get something that you always claimed you wanted, then you start thinking, well, man, the grass is always greener, isn't it? I made a mistake. So, Jesus told the Pharisees he was the bread of life. Whoever ate from his body would have eternal life. His blood was the wine. Whoever drank of it had eternal life. And think about this. Think about what the people must have thought. This was the second time that day that the Pharisees tried to have him stoned or arrested. Not stoned like Cheech and Chong stoned, I'm talking stoned to death. They heard him claiming he and the Father are one. And they tried to arrest him for blasphemy. And he pointed out in the scriptures, in Psalm, I believe it was 82 or 85, I believe 85, where men were called gods, the small g gods. All men were children of God. And so, of course, he confused them. They had to think about it. But when he said he was the bread of life, whoever eats from his body will gain eternal life. How would this sound? How would this sound even now? They were thinking, what, they're talking about cannibalism now? What is this whack job? What is this? And so many of his followers left. They fled. They were like, no, we were so wrong about this guy. Now he's talking about cannibalism. Wow. This is a common theme throughout Christ's teachings. When he told Nicodemus, who was a Pharisee, one of the good ones, who was drawn to Christ, I actually like, that's one of the best parts of that show, The Chosen, how they portray Nicodemus. as just being drawn to Christ. Now, we don't really know. The Bible doesn't tell us that much about Nicodemus. But he told Nicodemus, truly, truly, I tell you, you must be born again to see the kingdom of heaven. And Nicodemus was like, what? I'm an old man. How does that even work? Am I supposed to crawl up my mom's womb and come out the birth canal again? Doesn't make any sense. The same way I am the bread of life. Whoever eats of my body will gain eternal life. Doesn't make any sense. Let me stand like this, so hopefully I'm blocking the wind now. It didn't make any sense. You'll have to excuse me. It is finally cold out and my nose keeps running, so it doesn't make any sense. What does that mean? Whoever eats of my body and drinks of my blood will gain eternal life. This is something that confuses those who are perishing. It is foolishness, even depravity, to those who are perishing. Because they think in literal terms. They think, oh, wow. To be born again? I gotta come out my mother's birth canal again? Yeah, right. What is this guy talking about? I gotta eat his body and drink his blood? Man, is he one of those goth kids? It is revolutionary when you understand it. It is so transcending when you understand what he was truly talking about. That he told Nicodemus, first he was like, wow, you're supposed to be some great teacher of Israel, and you can't understand that the things of the flesh are of the flesh. The things of the Spirit are of the Spirit. So think about that. When I truly started thinking about that verse, and I've thought about it over and over and over again, I finally started to get an even deeper sense of what Christ's teachings meant. Even how to read the Old Testament. This verse, the things born of the flesh are of the flesh. The things born of the Spirit are of the Spirit. So maybe when they were in the desert, actual bread didn't fall from the sky from God. No, God provided maybe animals and plants they could eat. Wheat they could eat. That just appeared to them that it seemed like good fortune, right? Seemed like, wow, we found this in the nick of time. Well, we are lucky. That is how God speaks and works in our lives. He's usually, now not always, but usually not going to perform some physics law-breaking act, some natural law-breaking act, which we call miracles. But I think that miracles are so much more than just defying the laws of physics and nature. I think that miracles are when God provides for us and speaks to us when we need Him the most. We need Him desperately. We need Him so much. And finally, we are genuine about asking Him, please, are you there, God? Hello, I know I've talked to you. I've asked you so many times and you've never responded. Are you there? He is there. I promise you this. He is there. He is watching over us. Even when we don't think he is, even when we don't believe in him, he's working in our lives. Many get the calling. Few of them even understand the calling, even recognize the calling. Because, again, we only have our life experiences to draw upon. So we are just, we're like, wow, yeah, I mean, there's some weird stuff going on with my mind and my life. I kind of have this feeling of like deja vu, or like things have been happening I can't explain. But I can still explain them. It's just strange how they happen. Right at the point when I need them. I'll be thinking about someone I hadn't seen in years. And then I'll run into them on the street. Or maybe they'll call the phone. Or reach out somehow. I'll be wondering how I get through a heartbreak or grief. Maybe a song lyric will come on that tells me everything I need to know, everything I need to hear. God works through everything and everyone. Doesn't matter if you believe. But those many are called, even fewer recognize the call. Even fewer are chosen. Because there's obstacles. There's obstacles. And we're not going to just keep running into a brick wall over and over, are we? There's obstacles. We usually pack up our things and go home. Unless we are desperate enough to figure out a way over that wall or around that wall. Why would we do this if we didn't have any incentive to? If our life is, yeah, it's fine. It's not great. It's not bad. It's fine. Or if our life is blessed. I live such a blessed life. I have all the things I need in life. A loving family, a good bit of money, some power, some fame. I got what I need. I'm going out on my boat this weekend and having a good time. We have to be, I repeat over and over again, we have to be broken or at least fed up. At least fed up. I did a really good live stream last night. I think it went really well. And if you want, check it out, please. I just get on there and I try to respond to everyone as best I can. And I kind of brought up how I used to think. There was this movie, this Monty Python movie called Life of Brian. And it told the story of this guy who lived adjacent to Christ. And all this crazy stuff and all this bad stuff happened to him. But nobody cared. Nobody cared because obviously Jesus Christ was living right down the street. Or not too far away. But at the end, it used to be the thing that I used to turn on to make myself at least laugh in the dark times. He's on a cross with a bunch of other Jews at the time. And he's singing a song called Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. And they're whistling. And that song summed it up for me. How life's a piece of S when you look at it. And I just used to think, these people understand. These people understand. They might be rich comedians in England living the good life. But man, do they understand how bad life is, and we can only laugh at it to get through. That was my thing. You have to laugh at it, because if you don't, you'll go crazy. If we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane, as the late great Jimmy Buffett said. We have to understand, if you really, really are getting that desperation for God, He is there for us, and there is so much more. It's not some cosmic joke being played on us. It's not some string of curses there to just break us for no reason. Yes, we might have to be broken depending on how stubborn we are, and I'm a very stubborn guy. We'll have to be broken to a certain extent. We have to suffer enough to open our eyes. We have to suffer enough to open our eyes. So, please remember that you're gonna run into obstacles. You're gonna run into all kinds of things holding you back. Because if it was easy, it would be meaningless. Everybody be doing it. Of course I'm gonna find God. Of course I am. But it's got to be one of the hardest goals to achieve ever. To push past the suffering and find the meaning, find the loving arms of Jesus Christ. All right, everybody, my dogs are saying they want to go home, so I'm going to get on out of here. I love you all so much. God bless.